everyone, welcome back to our channel Go for Agriculture. So we're going to start another new course. It's Principles of Agricultural Economics, and I'll be taking this course as well. So we'll be uploading the first video on agricultural economics very soon so that you can join the course. Okay, so let's continue with the next lecture of IPM, and today we're going to discuss on the characteristics of a pest population. So basically this topic, it covers what is natality, mortality, and how the pest it maintains its average population, and what are survivorship curves and age distribution. So first is ecology. So ecology is a study of complex interactions between a living organisms and non-living environment, whereas ecosystem is a complex interacting system between living and non-living factors, and whereas agroecosystem, it's a man-made ecosystem. And this agroecosystem, it is composed of weed communities, crop plant populations, animal communities, microbiotic communities, and a physical environment. So since it's a man-made ecosystem, it can satisfy the human needs, and also it can be largely created. Next is the population. So a population is a group of organisms of same species occupying a particular area. So we all know what are biotic and abiotic factors. So biotic factors, they are the living factors, so like all the organisms, whereas abiotic factors, they are the non-living factors. And next is GEP. GEP is the general equilibrium position. So I think in my last class I've given a detailed lecture on GEP. So even now in this lecture also I'll give you a brief on GEP. So GEP is the general equilibrium position. So it is the average population of an insect, whereas carrying capacity is the maximum population of an insect in which the environment can support. So in this graph you can see the blue line is the GEP, whereas the red line is the carrying capacity. Okay, so when the insect population it increases and when it reaches the carrying capacity, there is some sort of a thing which decreases the pest population, and it make it to reach their average population. So that thing which is decreasing their population is called as environmental resistance. See, for example, when the insect population it increases and reaches the carrying capacity, so what does the environment do is it makes the food as a limiting source. So when the food is limited but the population size is more, so what happens? Competition occurs. So when the competition occurs, automatically the population it decreases. Okay, so this environmental resistance plays an important role in maintaining the insect population. Next is biotic potential. See, due to some of the external factors, when the average population of the insect decreases, so then the biotic potential helps in increasing the population. So basically biotic potential means the reproductive rate of an insect. So this reproductive rate of an insect helps in increasing the population, making it reach up to the GEP. So this is how environmental resistance and the biotic potential helps in maintaining the average insect population. Next is characteristics of a population density. So it is the number of individuals per unit space. Next is crude and ecological density. So let me tell you. See, for example, if this is the whole land, okay, so in this whole land, only in this part, if the organisms were surviving, so this small area is called as ecological density, whereas the combination of this small area and this huge land is called as crude density. So if we say in case of definition, what is crude density? So the crude density is the land in which the organisms range, whereas ecological density is the land in which the organisms thrive or they survive. Okay. Next is natality. So natality is the ratio of number of individuals added to the population. So we can say natality is biotic potential, and what is biotic potential? It is the birth rate or the reproductive rate. So natality is of two types, absolute natality and the ecological natality. So absolute natality is the maximum number of individuals that can be produced under most ideal conditions. So absolute natality is also known as potential or maximum or physiological natality. Next is ecological natality. So it is the number of individuals that can be produced under only specific environmental conditions, and also it is not constant at all. Next is mortality. So mortality is the number of individuals dying in a given population in a given period of time. So again, mortality is of two types, minimum and ecological mortality. So minimum mortality is same of absolute mortality. It is the mortality of individuals under most ideal conditions, whereas ecological mortality is under specific environmental conditions only. Next is survivorship curves. So basically these curves, they help us to determine the various evolutionary strategies of different species. See, so this is one of the survivorship curve. So basically this curve, it helps us to know the relation between the age and the survival capacity of the different organisms. See, for example, yes, so this is the convex curve, and another curve is this concave curve, and the third curve is this constant curve. Okay, so in here you can see there are three types of curve. One is the red one, second is the green, and third is the blue. So first we'll see the red one. It's the convex curve. So, or we can say the type 1 curve. Okay, so in this convex curve we can see the organisms which have the high survival capacity, like humans, like whales, we can say the mammals. Okay, so these organisms, they tend to live longer in their entire lifespan, that is, they have the higher surviving capacity. And the second type of the curve is the concave curve. So in this curve, like in these organisms, the early stages of their lifespan, they have a lower surviving capacity, but when these organisms reach the adult stages, they have a higher survival rate. Oh wait, see, for example, if you see here, so here you can see the surviving capacity is decreasing with the age. Okay, wait, so here you can see there are three phases, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so first is the early stage, second is the adult stage, and third is it's the last stage of their life. Okay, so in this green curve you can see during the early stages the green curve is decreasing, and after a certain point, when it enters the stage 2, that is the adult stage, again the survivorship is straight. It means in this kind of curve, that is in this kind of concave curve, they during the adult stages they have a lower survivorship rate, and when they enter the adult stages they have a higher survivorship. Okay, and the next is constant curve. So basically constant curve, they don't exist at all, but if we do a modification to the constant curve, we can get this curve. This is the modification of the constant curve. Okay, so if we compare this concave and the constant curve, they are little bit similar, because in these two curves, these organisms during the early stages they have a lower survival rate, but when they reaches the adult they have a higher survival rate. But in case of the modified constant curve, in the third phase, that is during the old phase, again the survival rate decreases. So this is the modified constant curve. So in the first curve, it is the convex curve. We humans, we are the organisms which we tend to live our entire lifespan, whereas in the concave curve we have a high early life mortality, and when we enter the adult stage we have a higher survivorship rate, for example trees, insects, oysters, etc. Whereas in the modified constant curve we have a higher adult survivorship, same like the concave ones like deer, turtles, etc. So this is the survivorship curve. Next is dispersal. So dispersal is the movement of individuals into or out of the population. Like immigration, it is the movement into the population, whereas emigration is movement out of the population, whereas migration is the mass movement of the entire population. And if we see what is the role of dispersal in the population dynamics, so it helps in shaping the population growth form by supplementing natality and mortality, and second is unpopulated areas can be colonized, and also it leads to increase in the range of species. And if you see what is dispersion, so basically dispersion is the how the individuals in a population are distributed. See, for example, you can see here, you can see there are three boxes, 1, 2, 3. So in this you can see first is uniform dispersion, second is random, and third is clumped. Okay, so if we see in case of insects, so basically insects they prefer only the random and the clumped dispersion. They never ever prefer the uniform dispersion. Either they prefer the random or the clump. Clump is also called as aggregated distribution. Okay. Next is age distribution. So it is a relative proportion of individuals of different age groups of a population is called as age distribution or age structure. See, for example, in a population, if there are more younger individuals, then we can say the population is expanding or it is increasing. If there are more older individuals, it means the population is declining, because if there are more number of individuals which are going to die tomorrow, so what happens? It means the population is decreasing or declining. If there is an equal distribution of the younger and the older individuals, it means it is a stationary population. So this is the age distribution in a population. Next is, yes, growth models. So basically these are the two curves which shows the growth models of the increase in number of organisms with time. Okay. So first we'll draw a small graph that GEP, we all know GEP and how they fluctuates. Okay, so even how much they fluctuate also, they have to come back to their average population, right? So we all know this. So in the first graph you can see the number of organisms that have been increasing with time. It means there is no such something to stop this increasing population. So in starting we have seen the GEP curve. So to stop the increasing population, there is an environmental resistance, right? See when the insects population it reaches the carrying capacity, the environmental resistance is stopping them. But in the first curve, there is nothing like environmental resistance. The number of organisms have been increasing with time. They are continuously increasing. So this is the exponential growth model or a J-shaped curve. So but you know, this exponential growth model, it basically doesn't exist. So the next is logistic growth model. So this is the exact growth model what we are looking for. So here we can see the carrying capacity, we can see, and also the biotic potential, which helps in increasing the insect population. And when this insect population reaches the carrying capacity, the population is stabilized. So if the population increases, again the environmental resistance suppresses them, and again it reaches to the average population. So this is what we are looking for. So the logistic growth model curve, it exists, but exponentially it doesn't exist, even though it exists up to a certain point of time. Okay, so this is the basic difference between the exponential growth model and the logistic growth model. So this is a guide. In this today's lecture we have seen the characteristics of a pest population, which is the easy topic in the IPM. So thank you for watching. If you have any queries, you can ask us on our Instagram page, or also you can post in the comment section, and also you can download this PPT in the link given below. So till then, thank you for watching, and till then, stay tuned. Bye bye. Take care.